Hello. So today I'd like to do just a brief video on divination and briefly give you the definition of what it is and describe the two types of divination that I do, which are tarot cards and pendulum dowsing. Because when I'm on my channel and I refer to getting a reading for something, I'm not always talking about reading a book. Sometimes, but if I say I got the reading, that means we're talking about, typically the pendulum is what I use for truth because I'm most comfortable with it at this point. I've done it for 5 years, and then the tarot cards I've done for a year. The pendulum looks like this, and it swings, it'll swing a certain way for yes or no, or a certain way for, swing one way for yes, and then I can say, show me a no. Show me a yes. Stop. Isn't that cool? Anyhow, so, all right. Tarot reading and pendulum dowsing are both forms of divination. Divination is 1, the practice of attempting to foretell future events or discover hidden knowledge by occult or supernatural means. 2, prophecy. 3, perception by intuition or instinctive foresight. There are many types of divination, but today I'm only going to discuss the 2 divination tools I personally use, tarot cards and pendulums. For me personally, tarot and the pendulum have both proven to be valuable tools that have helped me connect with my inner voice and get more in tune with the messages that it sends me. The use of divination tools has helped me hone into my inner self. Most importantly, it has helped me learn to trust myself and my inner wisdom. And that is very true. The programming that we are under, the programming that we are under, it really disconnects our connection with our inner selves. And to what degree, it really just depends on how bad you were programmed and what kind of a connection, I guess, you had with your inner self in the first place. I feel I'm an ancient soul, and I was never as disconnected as some. And fortunately, I was never as asleep as some. And maybe that's why I'm further down the rabbit hole than a lot of people. I don't know. It's not a competition. And I'm not saying this in some kind of egomaniacal way. It's hard to be so far past some of these concepts that, it's hard to even put it into words. So I am grateful for every single one of you that is along the ride with me on this journey. I mean, the support means so much. Okay, so the tarot is a deck of 78 cards, each with its own images, symbolism, and meanings. A tarot deck is made up of major and minor arcana cards. There are 22 major arcana cards, and they represent life's karmic and spiritual lessons. They're like major life themes. There are 56 minor arcana cards that represent day-to-day trials and tribulations that we experience in life. Tarot is the script to our life, the mirror to our soul, and the key to inner wisdom. Every life lesson and situation we face in our lives can be found in the 78 cards. When we consult the tarot, one will be shown exactly what he needs to learn and master to live his best and most fulfilling life. It's like holding up a mirror that accesses your subconscious mind and the universal consciousness. Tarot allows us to tap into the wisdom and answers that are found and live within all of us. Tarot helps us learn the sound of our inner voice and assists in learning to trust ourselves enough to listen to our intuition. Tarot is an excellent tool for self-development, making life choices, manifesting goals, advising others, writing a book, you name it. Tarot can answer any question you need answered and will give useful guidance no matter your life situation. While many people believe that tarot will tell you the future, making direct future predictions is not exactly what tarot does. With tarot, fortune telling is out and intuition is in. Tarot gets information from one's subconscious mind, the universal consciousness, and current potential life scripts and timelines. And I'm going to post a reading after this. I do a monthly reading at the first day of every month. And so I thought I'd just go ahead and film this one, just so that you can see the example of a reading. And the reading is about the awakening as a whole and the world energy as a whole for the month of September. Okay. The future is not set in stone, and there are multiple timelines that one may end up on. Rather than reading what life situation is going to occur, I find that tarot gives one guidance on how to make better choices and gives useful advice on how to handle difficult situations. The most powerful way to read the tarot is to use your intuition and your inner wisdom. However, if you do not feel comfortable reading with your intuition yet, don't let it discourage you from learning tarot if you want to. There are tons of books on tarot that list multiple meanings for the cards. And then I created a board on Pinterest myself, and I like to intuitively read them first, and then I like to go and I like to look up the meaning still, because I've only done it for a year, and it takes a long time to memorize all those cards and every symbol and all that. You know, you can never fully, I think, learn tarot. But I like to get, and then as I'm looking up those meanings, it's like the proper meaning will call to me for that particular client or that particular question. I mean, you know, so the combination of the intuitive reading and then going in and, you know, just checking the little boards I have on Pinterest, it's like a cheat sheet. I mean, that combination has proven to work really well for me, and I like it. And so I may keep that for a while, even if, you know, I have to get out an iPad. I like it. I don't do in-person readings at this point. I do Zoom readings and email readings, but I've only found online clients so far. I'd be willing to do in-person readings, but you might have to give me 20 minutes to write it out. Okay. Now, I've done pendulum dowsing for 5 years, and that, you know, I would totally do a reading on that for you, no problem. But the point is, don't feel bad if you don't know the meanings right away, or if you have to look up what the cards mean. We all start somewhere. When doing a tarot reading, I personally like to look up the meanings of cards. Oh, after I've been doing it. Okay, I wrote that in here. All right. And then I do find that I get many more intuitive messages for a client when using this system. I am drawn to certain definitions while looking at the definitions of the cards during a client reading. It is typically these messages that end up benefiting the clients most when the reading is over. And the same thing happens during a pendulum dowsing session. A client provides the questions that he or she wants answered typically, but inevitably additional questions always come up intuitively from my gut while I'm doing a session. And I always include these questions free of charge, of course. It is often these questions that come to me intuitively that the clients don't think of that are the answers they end up needing the most. We are all connected to a collective consciousness, and when we read tarot cards, we can tap into this universal wisdom. It's like connecting with a collective mind, not just the individual mind. And when you ask the tarot cards a question on behalf of someone else, you will pick up all sorts of intuitive messages through the tarot cards and through your connection with the collective consciousness on behalf of that person. These insights are channeled through the reader to the person he or she is reading for, often in a very powerful way. And anything is possible when you tap into this limitless and timeless knowledge. And the goal of a reading should always be to uplift someone. Even if the cards say that, you know, this situation is going to turn out terribly. I mean, we need to focus on the fact that there is always good to be found in a situation. There may be some kind of karmic debt that needs repaid, and inevitably it has to happen, or, you know, but then it's over and we can move on. Or, I mean, you know, we need to uplift, you know, or if, you know, I mean, we need to, if the reader is giving you doomsday and all these things, be very, very cautious of that reader, because a good reader is always trying to make you feel better. Okay, and then pendulum dowsing. Pendulum dowsing divination is another fun and fascinating metaphysical art form, and it's considered one of the simplest to master. Whether you interpret divination tools as a way to access a divine higher power or simply as a method of tapping into your inner self, they can be really amazing in helping you sort out your true feelings and getting to the heart of a matter. What is pendulum dowsing, and how exactly does this tool work? So I showed you the pendulum earlier. Now, it's pretty simple. A pendulum, you don't have to have an actual pendulum. A pendulum is any simple weighted object on a string, and it is used as a channel for energy. A pendulum can be made with any heavy object on a string or chain. Doesn't matter what materials you use, it just needs to be able to swing to indicate yes or no. A pendulum is just one of several forms of dowsing, which is defined as a technique for searching for anything invisible by observing the motion of a pointer or the changes in the direction of a pendulum, supposedly in response to unseen influences. Dowsing has been relied upon for centuries and was historically used to help people find underground water sources, minerals like gold, and other hidden resources without the use of scientific tools. Psychics began using dowsing for more metaphysical purposes in the 18th century. It is reported that Leonardo da Vinci used dowsing in his practices, and Einstein is quoted as saying, "The dowsing rod is a simple instrument which shows the reaction of the human nervous system to certain factors which are unknown to us at this time." Now, I don't think it's the human nervous system. I'm not moving the pendulum. The pendulum moves itself. It's an electromagnetic impulse that I feel you pick up through the ether. It may come from inside sometimes too, but I'm not moving it. As a matter of fact, you try to keep your hand as steady as you can because I don't want it to be biased. I want it to swing however it's going to swing. I want truthful answers. Okay. So pendulums have been used successfully by many different types of people for a very long time and for a wide variety of purposes. And I've used it for 5 years. The pendulum is merely a tool. It amplifies the answer so that you may see it more easily. There is no magic in your dowsing tool. It does not give you the answer. It's just a gauge. A tool is not needed for dowsing. In fact, many like to teach dowsing starting without a tool. Supposedly you can use your body to do it. I have not mastered that. A good teacher will explain that the tool is simply helping you learn what you already know inside. If taught properly over time, divination tools help an individual identify his gut and heart feelings, plus learn to trust them. Oh, a Band-Aid. Okay, hold on. The only type of pendulum that requires maintenance is a crystal pendulum, and they do accumulate energies and need to be cleansed frequently. You can douse, you can ask yes or no questions. You can also, say, write down the alphabet and it will spell things out, but that's very time consuming. You can, if you have a bunch of choices, you could say, put them in a circle and it will give you the proper choice. Like a pie. You can, I like to do it that way. Pendulum work is fantastic for an immediate yes or no question, and that is exactly how pendulums are commonly used by mystics today. Of course, as is the case with most divinatory arts, there are naysayers who believe that pendulums are simply a trick of the mind and body, but they just aren't, Now, I do advise against asking a bunch of future questions. Pendulums are best for past and present responses. The future is not set in stone, and while the pendulum will give you an answer, any future answer may change if your current timeline changes. One can get fixated on a particular path due to the pendulum answers and end up making life choices that aren't for his or her highest and greatest good, too. You can make choices that will influence that life path, and that may not be best instead of just going with the flow. If you use a pendulum for future questions, take the answers with a grain of salt and do not change your life around the answers. Now, I will personally attest to the fact that a pendulum is extremely accurate, freakishly accurate. I've used it to verify many things, and everything that is actually verifiable that I can, look up and find the answer to. It's come out true. The couple of times that it hasn't, there's been marked interference or something that I figured out why it gave me the wrong answer. So the pendulum is very cool. The tarot is very cool. If you'd like to have a reading, I will put my contact information in the description. Your first reading, I'll do half price. Readings start as low as $20. So you should try me out. Have a great day.